Every new brawler that comes out is either broken, balanced, or completely terrible. In this video, we'll be looking at the worst brawlers ever released. I'll be excluding Frank and Daryl and Colette because they are too obvious. Gus is a great support who can also deal nice damage. On release, this was a different story because his biggest problem was his terrible reload speed.
Reload test, and Gus fires his attack at a decent speed, but aside from his slow reload speed, his attack has a lot of cool time in between shots, so his first 3 shots actually take a while to shoot. He's able to reload his 10 shots in 21.6 seconds, and that puts him at 40.
His game mode rankings were also pretty garbage, so Supercell buffed this guy before even being available, giving him 3 buffs, and then he was buffed only a month later after the release. When Lou was released, he had a big problem. His super dealt no damage, literally. If you somehow didn't hit the opponent while they were in the super, they could actually heal back up. And his super only had the sliding effect, because the progressive freezing that his super causes now was actually a star power. Super cool. The one that buffs the strength of the freezing inside the super. This led to Lou being emergency buffed 1 day after his release, where he was given 3 buffs, and a year and a half after his release, his super was able to freeze opponents, and his second star power got reworked. Because back then, his super would just nerf the reload speed instead of the damage of brawlers, and by a weaker percentage. It is safe to say Lou had a pretty slippery start. If you think that getting 3 bullets on an opponent with Nani is impossible now, you should have seen her on release, because back then, her bullet would stop exactly where the circle was. That's right. So if an opponent was moving, auto-aim did not work against them at all. Not only that, Nani had the slowest reload speed in the entire game.
Now, to give you an idea of how slow this is, it's 0.05 seconds slower than Mortis's reload speed, which isn't much slower, but it is slower, and that's incredibly slow.
2 weeks after her release, her reload speed would be buffed by 10%, and a month later, they would make her attack, actually hittable. Willow was the most overhyped and disappointing brawler ever released. Aside from the fact that her super literally crashed the game, her attack had a 1-second delay before actually dealing any damage. 2 days after her release, they would buff her attack, and it took them a whole week to fix the super crashing problem. The rest of her history would be buffs and bug fixes. She only received 2 nerfs. But how can we forget about Doug, who was the only brawler to stay in the F tier ever since his release? When he was released, many people thought he would be game-breaking, but turns out that broken super is literally unobtainable. You need to have range, which Doug doesn't. His kit is extremely flawed. His tanky HP does not actually make him any better. He's extremely niched but glazed because of being a bad brawler, and there are some idiots out there who actually think he's good, going, "Oh, he can actually be better than 99% of the brawler in most maps." There were legends of a Doug rework, but at the end that never happened. But what if I told you that there was a brawler that surpassed him in his misery? A brawler that wasn't Frank or Daryl. It was Daryl's teammate, Penny. Since her release in 2018, she always sucked for 4 whole years. Despite her long history of buffs, she never actually shot up to the meta. So Brawl Stars resorted to their last hope, a rework. And no, a rework is not a giga buff like the Frank, Daryl, and Meg's second rework. These are just used by Brawl Stars for some aura and coolness. A rework is a bunch of balance changes that completely change how a brawler works. Sometimes it can be an absolute overhaul, and that is exactly what Brawl Stars did. Not only was Penny's model completely changed, but on the 29th of June 2022, Penny received 12 balance changes at once. 4 of them completely changed her star powers and gadgets. The rework was so big, Penny was being called a new brawler, and that's for a good reason. Her old gadget used to blow up her cannon, the second one would shoot bombs where she was, the first star power would make the cannon shoot bombs at the nearest opponent once it's dead, and plot twist, the bombs never landed, and the second star power used to actually be the burning effect on the bombs. Yeah, she sucked a lot before the rework, and even now, she fell off quite a lot. Part 2 will be at 1,805 subscribers, and I'll see you in the next one.